So just work on your own now, and while we wait for everyone to arrive, and select the correct answer. For those of you who are following us on the live stream, you have the buttons on the live stream where you can also select the answer. A, B, C, or D for each of them. Who else is with us? Kamba and Kulakani. Welcome everybody. Nwandile. Uzizipo, you need to calculate the gradient of each line and then choose the correct answer from the ones that I've given. So A, B, C, D for the first question, or A, B, C, D for the second question. Does that make sense, Uzizipo?
Ma'am?
Yes.
So we are supposed to work out the gradient for each question, then choose between the ones that are listed below.
Yes. So then choose the correct answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Hlomla and Bokamusa is also here today. Welcome, guys. Nokabunga. Welcome, Nolwazi. Sipesichle. Some familiar names and faces. Okay, we're going to give it 2 more minutes and then we can go through it. Hi, Nolwazi. Siamtanda, Tansley, Junior. Good to see you all here again today. Jaden's also here. Welcome, Jaden.
Afternoon.
And Sinclair, Palisa. Welcome to you guys as well. Daphne, I don't think I've met you, but welcome. Right, guys, 1 more minute. Gerald. Okay, guys, let's start. I think I've said hi to everyone already, but hi again. And I'm wondering if we can maybe in the chat just put an emoji about how we feel today. I feel pretty good. The sun is shining in Cape Town and that always cheers me up. So maybe you want to put an emoji in the chat and just say how are you feeling. Say hi to everyone. Palesa's giving us a thumbs up. Hlomla has no expression. Is it that type of a day? Jaden also laughing with me. Great stuff, guys. 100. Tando feeling good. Excellent. And if you're not feeling so good today, I hope just being here with us will help you feel a little bit better. Nolwazi, also feeling good and smiling. Wonderful. Okay, so yeah, let's spend the next 45, 50 minutes or so doing some maths, working on our straight lines. Unfortunately, Miss G couldn't be here today. She's not feeling so well. So I'm here with you today, and I'm so happy I'll be here with you on Wednesday as well, when we while we work on our straight lines and Miss G feels better. She will hopefully be back next week again. So let's crack on. Let's see. So I believe you've learned how to calculate the gradient. And so what I've got, 2 questions here. And I wonder, can we put in the chat for the first question, which is the correct answer, A, B, C, or D? You can put it in the chat now if you had a chance to work it out. If you haven't worked it out yet, don't stress. We will go over it just now, but I would like to see if you can put in the chat A, B, C, or D, which is the correct answer for this first question for the gradient. Can I see, please put in the chat your answer. Zizibo says B. Anyone else? Oh, it's very quiet. Very quiet this evening. Tula, on the live stream, have we got any responses?
Yes, I've got a couple of responses coming in. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want them now?
Yeah, just for the first question, what did people say on the live stream? What did they choose?
I have 2 for A and 2 for B. So
2 for A,
50-50.
2 for B.
Yeah.
Okay. Siamtanda also says A. Anyone else want to venture an answer? Okay, well, let's have a look. Let's do this first one. For the gradients. Now, this is important, right? We've got to know how to calculate our gradient. So, let me just get my pen working here and my color right. So for question 1, let's first see what would we say is the coordinate here. We've got the 6. 6 is the y, but if the y coordinate is 6 and it goes through the y-axis here, then what is my x coordinate? My x coordinate will be 0. And over here, my x coordinate is 4 and my y coordinate is 0. So there's 2 ways that we could basically have done this, okay? We could have just said, okay, so gradient, and the symbol for gradient is the change in y over the change in x. My vertical change in the distance over the horizontal change in the distance. And if I did that, then I would say, okay, the vertical change is 6 and the horizontal change here, so that's 6 and this is 4. So it's 6 and 4. However, my line is sloping, and I'm not sure if Miss G went over this with you, but my line is sloping in a negative direction. Do we see that? If the line is going in that direction, then the slope is actually negative. So we need to account for that. We need to say, okay, the line is sloping in a negative direction. If it was going the other way, if I maybe had a line, and if I can draw it here, if I had a line that was going like this, then that would be a positive sloping line. So if she didn't explain that next time, or she explained it differently, it doesn't matter. The whole idea is that the line slopes in a negative direction. And then we have to simplify this. Negative 6 over 4 is negative 3 over 2. So the correct answer was in fact D. This one here. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at the second question. Tula, what did people say on the live stream? What did they think the answer was for the second question?
I don't have responses right now. There's possibly a delay, but I don't have any responses yet. So maybe give them a few seconds.
Okay. Everyone else have another go at question 2 as well. If you've worked it out, look at it again. And if you haven't had a chance to work it out, do it now. Then we can calculate the gradient. Okay, so I'm going to give it just 30 more seconds to see if our live stream attendees can also give us an answer. We love to get their input as well. I'm going to write down the formula so long that I'm going to use. And that's change in y over change in x, or y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so if I have my coordinate points, and I always like to write them down. So the two coordinate points that I've been given are minus 2 and 5, and this one is 1 and negative 8. Okay. Now, you can choose which coordinate is x2 and x1. It is completely up to you, as long as they match. So if you choose this is x1, then this must be y1. And if this is x2, then this must be y2. Okay, so as long as they match, you could have switched them around. You could have done it the other way around. Doesn't matter. We're all going to arrive in the same place, even if we use the coordinates. If you chose the second pair as y1 and y2. Okay, so for me, I'm going to say minus 8 minus y1, which for me is 5. So minus 8 minus 5. My x2 is 1 and minus 2. I would really suggest you use your brackets here so that you don't make any mistakes with the signs, right? Okay, so minus 8 minus 5, that gives me negative 13. And 1 minus 2 is going to give me a 3. Now, if you are struggling and you're scared you're going to make a mistake, you can use your calculator to work this out, okay? Not a problem doing that. Okay, and that's negative 13 over 3, and that is question B. So the answer was B. Sorry, not question B, answer B. I see a few of you got that one right.
Yes, Marilyn. I also have some folk on the live stream who got it right.
Okay, awesome. Well done, guys, on the live stream. Right. Great. So now we are going to go a bit further. Before I go on, actually, does anyone want to ask a question about the gradient? Because at this point, it's really important that you understand how to calculate the gradient. Any questions? Okay. You've got 3 more seconds to ask. If you've got a question, you can just raise your hand or unmute yourself and talk to me. Okay. Okay, well, if at any point you do have a question about the gradient or anything else, just shout, okay? So today we are going to look at the intercepts. Intercepts, big word. I wonder what that means. I wonder if any of you can tell me what an intercept is. Anyone want to venture a guess, or am I going to choose someone who can tell me what the word intercept means? Let's see. Tabiso, do you know what intercept means? Dabiso, are you there? Did you hear my question? Okay, wait, we've got some responses in the chat. Where the lines meet. Okay, yes. Where two lines cross. Okay. And one more here from Adora, lines that meet. Okay. That's true. Crossing over of two lines. Yeah. That's right. So that's where two things or lines or anything, that's where they meet. Okay. Now, if I had to ask you, what is the y-intercept of a graph? The y-intercept. How would you explain it to me in plain English? What is the y-intercept of a graph? How would you say that to me? If I knew no maths and I just asked you, what is the y-intercept of a graph? How would you say to me, explain to me in plain English what that means?
Ma'am, can I explain?
Who is talking to me? Let me just see. That's Nokabonga. Yes, please go ahead, Nokabonga.
It is the coordinates at which the graph cuts through the y-axis.
Okay, so it's where the graph crosses the y-axis. That's right. Okay, so then what is the x-intercept? Who can tell me? Usizupu, you've got your hand up. You can go ahead. You can go ahead, Usizupu. Tell us what the x-intercept is. Ah, was a mistake. Okay. What about you, Avuyile? Do you want to explain to us what the x-intercept of a graph is?
Ma'am?
Yes.
I think it's where X and Y meet.
It's not quite where X and Y meet. Kamva, you saying it's where the line meets the X axis. Yeah, I would complete that sentence of yours just by saying it's where the line meets the X axis. Okay. Kensani, you saying x-intercept is a point where the y-axis meets. Okay. So that we have to be very clear, okay? Y-intercept, where the graph cuts the y-axis. X-intercept, where the graph cuts the x-axis. Okay, so that must be very clear. And we're going to practice this quickly, and I want you to just quickly in your book or in your exam pad where you're busy working, just jot down this diagram here. The one here with the x and the y-axis, and then these two lines crossing. And then I want you just with your pen and your pencil, mark where the intercepts are on the graphs. Okay, so we've got these two lines here. We've got our y-axis and our x-axis. And just mark for me where the intercepts are. Just quickly jot it down in your book. Those on the live stream, you guys can do the same. And then see if what we are doing is correct. Okay, so let's have a look. Hopefully you've completed it. But if you haven't, then you can just work with me and answer the question. So I'm going to start with the x-intercepts of these two lines. And we said that the x-intercept is where the graph cuts or goes through the x-axis. And that would be, I'm going to make a big purple dot over here and over here. And that's an x-intercept. And that's another x-intercept. Okay, now let's see if we can find our y-intercepts, because every line has an x-intercept and a y-intercept, with the exception of 2 lines, but we'll talk about that later. So this would be a y-intercept, and this would be a y-intercept. Okay, who got that right? Put in the chat if you got that correct. If you could tell your x-intercept and your y-intercept apart. Put that in the chat for me, please. Give me a thumbs up if you got it right. Okay, Palesa, Jaden, good stuff. Nukabunga. Okay, Tandu. Tandu says I got the X but not the Y. Okay. Make sure that you check, Tandu, and that you now know where the X-intercept and the Y-intercepts are. Kinsani says it's all good. Excellent, thumbs up. Right. There's one more intercept that we can talk about. So we've got the intercept with the x-axis and there's an intercept with the y-axis. But there's one other intercept. Does anyone want to tell me which one it is that we haven't identified yet? Who can tell me what it is? What about the point where the 2 lines meet? What about that intercept? See if you can find it on your sketch and then mark it. That's this point right here. Do you see? At that point, the 2 lines intersect. Is it called an equilibrium? Kamba, that's a big word. For now, we don't really use the word equilibrium. There are situations where you can use that word for where the 2 lines intersect. We're just going to work with the word with points of intersection or intercept. Those are the words that we are going to be using. Okay. I think equilibrium is more for sciencey stuff. Okay. So this, we can call this blue dot here that I've made, we can call that the point of intersection. Right. Okay, great, guys. Let's start with our first example. Okay, so we've given given the straight line y is equal to 2x plus 2. Use this rule to complete the table, and I think you did this something similar with Ms. G about 2 lessons ago, where you had to complete the table. So I want you to work on that now for 2 minutes. Here's your x values, calculate your y values, and then be ready to give your answers. Does everyone understand what to do?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good stuff. If you don't understand, just give us a shout. Mangi, I'm not sure if maybe what you need to do to fix your voice thingy, as you call it, is to maybe either refresh your page or leave and come back. And remember to, when it says join with computer audio, to do that. Tula, will you just let Mangi back in if she leaves and tries to come back again? Thank you, Tula. Okay, can Sani hold your answers? I'm going to get answers from everyone just now. I want everyone to be ready. 1 more minute. Okay, I've done the first one. Okay, let's hear. Who hasn't? Who's been quiet today? Let's see who I can ask. Gerald, I haven't heard from you today. Will you please give us the Y value for when X is -1? Gerald?
I think 0.
You said 0.
Yes.
I agree with you. So 2 times -1 will give me -2 plus 2 gives me 0. Okay, thanks, Gerald. Next up, let's see who we can ask. Linda, can you work out for us what is Y when X is 0? Linda? Okay, I'm not sure if Linda can hear me. Nolwazi, can you give us an answer?
Ma'am, it's 2.
2. Good stuff. And who's next? Ufense, can you give us the answer for when X is 1? Ufense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what is it?
It's 4.
4. Okay. And who's next? Siamtanda, can you do X equal to 2? What is Y?
6, ma'am.
6. Excellent. And the last one, who's going to give that one to us? Tansley?
Ma'am, the last one is 8.
8. Excellent. I agree with that. Now, I wonder, write down the coordinates of the X and Y intercepts of the straight line. Who can venture an answer? Who knows what the coordinates of the X and Y intercepts are? Just by looking at our table here. What is our X-intercept? What is our Y-intercept? And how do we know?
Our X-intercept is is 0 and 2.
Yeah, you're almost there. Keep going.
Is it -1 and 0?
Yes, it is. It's this one. This is our X-intercept. How do we know? That's the $1 million question.
We know this because the y-intercept is equal, the y-axis is equal to 0.
Yes, we know this because the y coordinate is 0 and the x is -1. So then where is our y-intercept? You can give us that.
Ma'am, it's 2.
Yes. Sorry, who was talking now?
Jaden.
Jaden,
Yes, ma'am.
what is our y-intercept?
Ma'am, it's 2.
It's 2. And how do we know this?
Because x is equal to 0.
That's it. So it's this point here. So our x-intercept, wait, let me get my colors right. My x-intercept is -1 and 0. And my y-intercept is 0 and 2. Okay, so I want to go back just a little bit to here where we identified the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So you can write a note for yourself. At any y-intercept of the graph, the x-coordinate is 0. Okay, so you can write that note for yourself in a bubble, in a think bubble, or in a... And at any x-intercept of the graph, the y-coordinate, whoops, the y-coordinate is 0. And why is that? Let's look at the x-axis quickly. And I'm going to just highlight it. Let's see if this works here. So this is my x-axis. Remember, the x-axis is nothing other than a number line. So all along this x-axis, the y-coordinate, the y value is 0. When you're standing on the x-axis, the y-coordinate is 0. And then if you look at the y-axis, this one here, which is a number line. So if you are on that line, all your x is always going to be 0. So x is 0 for the y-intercept, y is 0 for the x-intercept. Okay. Let's see. In the chat, please put a thumbs up if you understand that. If that's clear to you, thumbs down. If it's not, then I can explain again. It's a very important concept. So let's not move on until everyone is happy with that. Let's see. Canva has a thumbs up. Okay. Want to re-explain? Okay. Please, everyone, I'm waiting for you to put a thumbs up or let me know if you don't understand, then I can explain again. Okay, there's a few of you that I'm still waiting for. Zinclair, Tanash, I haven't heard from you. Tristan.
Mary-Lise, I also have a couple of thumbs up and a thumbs down from the live stream.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to re-explain about the x coordinate and the y coordinate when we are on the specific axes. So when you are looking at the x-axis, and I'm going to just rub my highlight out here in the same way. So remember the x-axis and the y-axis, they're just number lines. It's a horizontal number line, that's the x-axis, and a vertical number line. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, which I hope will help, is to say, okay, so this is my y-axis, right? So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And it comes down -1, -2, -3, and so on. At this point, though, is 0. So that's just looking at the vertical axis. When I look at the horizontal axis, same story. So that is 1, 2, 3. It's a number line, right? That's my x-axis. -2, -3, and so on. Now, if you imagine yourself standing on this x-axis. Now, remember, when we are on the Cartesian plane, we are talking about coordinates, x coordinates, y coordinates. Anywhere you go on the Cartesian plane, there's an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Okay. Husizipu, I see the lights have it's clicked. That's great. Okay. Now, but let me finish explaining for everyone else who might not understand yet. I'm just going to rub this out to give us some space. Okay, so here I am standing on the x-axis, doing a little dance move, it seems. Okay, so if I walk along the x-axis, normally you would go x coordinate, y coordinate. So if I go here, say, to this point, it's quite clear to see that my x coordinate is 3. But what is my y? Well, my y coordinate is 0. Here we go. And then check here. There's my y coordinate. That's 0. If I am standing right here, so I'm going this way now, and I'm standing on the y-axis, then at this point, if I had to tell someone where I am, because I have to give a coordinate, and I say, what's my x coordinate, what's my y coordinate? At this point, all along here on the y-axis, the x coordinate is 0. And if I'm standing on 2 here vertically, then my y coordinate is 2. Okay. Okay, so I see the chat is saying, okay, people are starting to understand. So back to our line that we drew over here. This line is going to go through the x-axis, and where it goes through the x-axis, we call that the X-Intercept. There, my y-coordinate is going to be 0. That is why we highlighted in purple where the X-Intercept is. The line is also going to go through the y-axis at a certain point. And at the point where it goes through the y-axis, the x-coordinate is 0. And that's why we highlighted the green, because x is 0 and y is 2. Okay, right. How's that? Let's see, I've got a few thumbs up now in the chat. People seem to be a bit more comfortable with that. All right. Okay. Okay, we're going to move on. We can definitely talk about it more as we go. We're going to do another example as well. So let's just finish writing, answering question C. So question C says, write down the value of the gradient of the straight line. Does anyone know what the gradient of the straight line is? Who wants to give us an answer?
Two.
Yeah, you can just say the answer if you've got it. Avoyile, do you know what the gradient of the straight line is? Can we calculate the gradient, or can we just see it in the equation? Who knows? You can tell me, Jaden.
Ma'am, it's in the equation, it's 2.
Yeah, it's in the equation, it's 2. Who hasn't done that? Who didn't know that you can just look at the equation and see what the gradient is? Please put in the chat if you don't know that. Okay, so a few of you don't know that yet. Okay, so there's a lot of you who don't know that. But guess what? And let's actually check this. Let's see if what Jaden is saying is true and if what I'm saying is true as well. Now we've got the table here, right? And we've just worked, we've just written down these 2 coordinate points. And now we can calculate the gradient, right? We've got 2 coordinate points. We can use the change in y over the change in x. So we can calculate it. So we can say our gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I want everyone to do this with me as we work. So I'm going to say this is x1 and x2 and y1 and y2. Oh, what am I doing? That's wrong. Let me try that again. That's when you don't concentrate. Okay, so x1, y1, x2, y2. That's better. Okay, so we can say 2 minus 0. 2 minus 0, that's my y's. And my x is 0 minus 1. That gives me 2 over 1, which is 2. And guess what? It's the same as this number in the equation. That is the gradient. Ta-da! Do you guys see that? That's the same and that's the same. The 2 in front of the x is the gradient. Okay. Right, everyone happy with that now? Do you see how we get it? You can work it out using the coordinate points, or if you have the equation, the 2 that stands in front of the x is the same as your gradient. Okay, awesome. Let's go on to our second example. Okay, so the table below illustrates a pattern that can be drawn as a straight line. Determine the rule or the equation of the straight line in the form y equal 2. Okay, does anyone know how we're going to go about doing this? Does anyone know how to find the rule for this pattern? Does anyone want to help us?
Ma'am, find the constant difference in the output and multiply the input by the constant difference, and then find what you have to get to get the actual output.
Okay, so Jaden is saying what we must do is we must find the constant difference. We must just make sure though, Jaden, that what I go up by with the input, so I can see my inputs increase by 1 as well. You must always check that. Okay, so it's plus 1, it doesn't skip, that it doesn't go minus 2, 5, 9, something like that. It always has to also increase by 1, the inputs. Then my outputs, okay, so 6 to 5 gives me minus 1. 5 to 4 gives me minus 1. Oh, That does not look like a -1 at all. Let me fix that. -1, -1, -1, -1. Okay, so each time we get -1. Now, Jaden said what we need to do is then multiply our input, our x's, with the -1. Okay, and so if we have to write this down, it would be minus times my x. So -1 times x. And then I have to see what I need to get to what I need to add or subtract to get to my output. So if I times the -2 with a -1, that gives me 2. So -1 times -2 is 2. And then what do I still need to get to 6? I must add a 4. Plus 4. Now let's see if it works each time. It must always work. -1 times -1 gives me 1 plus 4 to get to 5. Okay, so there's our rule for our pattern. The output decreases by 1. That's right, Suzipo. So that's -1. And the -1 is what we multiply our x's by. So -1 times x. And if we put this nicely into proper algebra, then it's -x plus 4. Okay, so now question B, I want everyone to write down the value of the gradient of the straight line. What did we see here? We said whatever's in front of the x, that is my gradient. So now everyone should be quick to answer this one. Write down the value of the gradient of the straight line. Please put your answer in the chat so I can see. Kamba says -1. Thanks, Kamba. Come, everyone else, Boichepo, I haven't heard from you at all today. Bukamuso, you too. -1. Mutsa. Okay. Yes. Right. So I think we all now realize that what's in front of the x is going to be the gradient. So we can write the gradient is -1. What about the y-intercept? Okay, put in the chat your y-intercept, please. What you think the y-intercept is going to be? Siamtanda, what do you think the y-intercept is going to be? Where do we look for the y-intercept? Siamtanda, how can we determine what the y-intercept is? Siamtanda, you can just unmute yourself and then we can do this together.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What
Okay,
will the
ma'am.
y-intercept be? Do you know?
Mama, I don't know, but I'm willing to guess.
Okay, let's not guess. What did we say? What is the x coordinate for the y-intercept? When the line goes through the y-axis, what did we say the x is?
Sorry, ma'am?
For when we said the line goes through and it crosses the the y-axis, what will the x coordinate be?
4.
The x coordinate.
0, 0.
The x coordinate will be 0. Okay, so when we look at our table, where's 0? Where x is over here, and then what is y?
4.
4. So that is your y-intercept. Is there a value in the equation that you notice is the same? Do you notice anything?
No, ma'am.
Look at our equation, y is equal to minus x plus 4. And we said the y-intercept is 4. Do you think that is just a coincidence? Do you guys notice that? This number is the y-intercept. And we can see from our table as well, 0 and 4. 4 is the y-intercept, and in our equation there's a 4, and that's the y-intercept. Sure, Usizipo, that's fine. Thanks. See you Wednesday. Bye. Bye-bye. Okay. So write down the y-intercept of the straight line. The y-intercept is 0 and 4. It's a coordinate point, so you must always write it as a coordinate point. Okay, so that was question D. Do you notice any connection between your answers in A, B, and C? So we've noticed something now. First of all, whatever's in front of the X, that is your gradient. And now the second thing we've noticed is that this number, this plus 4, is the same as the y-intercept. Okay, so that number is always going to give you your y-intercept. So if I make up an equation for a line, and I'm going to write it here, y equals 3x plus 2. From this equation, we can tell that this is the gradient. That is the value of the gradient. And this is the value of the y-intercept. Okay. And it's like that for all straight lines. Okay, if that's clear, please put a thumbs up, because that's also very important. We're doing some very important things in this lesson today. We've talked about the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts. We've talked about the gradient. We've talked about what the value of the x is at the y-intercept. These are very, very important things you need to know for straight line graphs. Okay, I see some thumbs up. That's wonderful, guys. Please, please, please stay with us. Like I say, these are important things. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Now, example 3, I'm going to do with you, and then that's going to be our second last question of the day if we work quickly. Right, so this says, consider the function y equal to 2x minus 1. Determine the coordinates of the y-intercept. Now we said the y-intercept is this number here. That tells you in the equation what the y-intercept is. So we can go straight ahead and just write down, but we must write the coordinate. What is the x coordinate at the y-intercept? Everyone should be shouting at home, 0. The x coordinate at the y-intercept is 0. That's it. And the y coordinate is minus 1. Now, what is the coordinates of the x-intercept? The x-intercept requires a little bit more work. What is, and I'm just going to write down the equation here, 2x minus 1. What is the value of the y coordinate at the x-intercept? Everyone can shout at once if you know.
0.
It's 0. Okay. So we're going to make our y equal to 0. Okay, everyone happy with that? And now we've got an equation, right, that we can solve. You see why we spend so much time solving equations? Because for graphs, you need to know how to solve equations. So I'm going to bring my 2x over to the other side and make it minus 2x. And I'm going to divide by -2 to get x by itself. And then x is positive a half because -1 divided by -2 will give me a plus half. And that's how we calculate the x coordinate at the x-intercept. We must write it as a coordinate. X is a half, y is 0. Okay, give example 4 a go on your own. So this equation, it's not very clear. Y equal to a half x plus 4. Okay. Do that on your own quickly. See if you can get it right. I want the coordinates of the y-intercept, for example 4, and the coordinates of the x-intercept, for example 4. Remember to give it as a coordinate point. Jaden, I see you've got an answer, but it must be a coordinate point. Okay, so x coordinate and y coordinate. Now, if you haven't given an answer tonight, get ready. I'm going through the list here. Neo, I haven't spoken to you tonight, and you haven't spoken to me. So maybe you can give us the answer for question A. What is the coordinate of the y-intercept? Neo? Sorry, I say Neo, maybe it's Neo. Anyone else? Palesa, you've got your hand up. Go for it, Palesa. Give us the coordinate of the y-intercept.
It's 0, 4.
0 and 4. Excellent. Let's see in the chat. Put a thumbs up if that's what you got. Adora got that. Kamba got that. Jaden, Nokabunga, Kensani, Norwazi. Excellent. Okay. And who's going to give us the coordinate of the x-intercepts? Norwazi. What did you get? Norwazi, give us the x-intercept.
Ma'am, I got 8 and 0.
8 and 0. Okay. Let's check that. So for our x-intercept, we need to make y equal to 0. Okay. I'm going to bring my half x over. There's a few ways you could have solved this equation. I'm going to bring my half x over to the other side and make it negative a half x is equal to 4. And then I'm going to divide by negative a half on both sides to get -8. I think you just maybe forgot about the negative. Nolwazi. So -8 and 0 was the answer. Okay, great stuff, guys. We're going to end it there for this evening. There's some homework that Tula is going to give to you on these intercepts. Very, very important. If you felt a little bit stuck and unsure tonight, then definitely go and do some more of these exercises on the app. Tula, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Marilise. I'm definitely going to be recommending the homework because I have some thumbs up, but also like a thumbs down from the live stream. So I'm guessing some people still need to do just more practice just to fully get everything. I'm just going to quickly present now grade 9s as usual. So I'm going to be really quick. Let me know as usual if you can't see my screen. So we're doing graphs, and yeah, congratulations on completing the 3rd lesson on graphs. It's the 23rd, of course, and we're doing the intercepts of a function with the axes, and we're going to be doing on Wednesday, which is the 25th, the drawing of the graphs. So make sure that you prepare for that. And I'll show you just now how to prepare with on the app and also just the homework. And we don't have the leaderboard today. We'll do the leaderboard on Wednesday. So you guys have more time just to get your activities going. So be sure to do that, and then we'll acknowledge you, of course, as we do on the leaderboard. So for the homework this week, just so you get ready for next week, and also you just make sure you solidify the work that you've done in this lesson. You go to the Watobi app, you click on the topics, you go to graphs, and then after graphs, you scroll down all the way down, you'll find linear graphs, and then go to intercept from a table. Then make sure that you do the lessons there, the activities, and any quizzes that are there. And this is, of course, important so that you don't just leave here and maybe you don't understand, but you can make sure that you solidify your understanding, and you can make sure that you still remember, even in the long term, the work that you did here. And I think that's it from the presentation. Thank you, everyone who attended this lesson and those on the live stream. Marilise, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just that to be prepared for the next lesson, because we're going to be drawing graphs next. So then you need to understand about the X and the Y intercept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Just before I let you guys go, I see Palisa has their hand up. Palisa, is this an old hand or do you have a question?
Sorry, yes it is. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that's okay. At least we got to hear your voice. Yeah, that's always good. All right, we'll let you guys go. See you on Wednesday. Remember to come in on Wednesday and check your Watobi app for any announcements there might be. See you guys on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.